The story begins with a group of criminals being transported to a top-secret prison facility. What they don't know is that this prison is hiding something far more sinister, a dark and twisted experiment. From the moment they arrive, control is asserted through brutality. The inmates are met with a harsh welcome, beatings, intimidation, and fear. That night, during dinner, the guards force all prisoners into the yard. One by one, metal dog bowls are thrown at their feet. When a female inmate protests, she's immediately beaten down, without hesitation, without mercy. The guards then begin painting marks on the inmates' bodies. 1 stripe means you've broken a rule. 2 stripes? No one knows exactly what happens next, but it's terrifying enough to leave everyone pale with fear. In panic, one inmate drops to the ground and starts eating like an animal. The others follow, swallowing their pride along with their food. Only when every prisoner has humiliated themselves does the instructor finally crack a satisfied smile. In this place, human rights do not exist. There is only one rule: obey or suffer. In such a high-pressure environment, one prisoner dares to escape. But he doesn't get far. He's caught, beaten senseless in front of everyone, and thrown into a metal cage like a wild animal. As punishment for his actions, the rest of the inmates are denied food and forced to kiss the instructor's boots. This inhumane treatment pushes the prisoners to the edge. Eventually, they decide to make another escape attempt. The opportunity comes when the instructor suddenly calls one prisoner, code name B, to follow him. As they leave, the rest of the group realizes this may be their only chance. Quickly, they dress and make a run for the outer perimeter. Meanwhile, B is taken into a hidden underground lab. It's here that the horrifying truth is revealed. This prison is a front for a biological experiment involving cells extracted from a little girl, cells used to create an undead army. But something has gone horribly wrong. When the virus is injected into B, his body mutates almost instantly. He becomes a raging, bloodthirsty monster with incredible strength. Chaos erupts. The facility goes into full lockdown. Alarms blare. Guards panic. Some flee. A tactical support unit arrives just in time, managing to kill a few of the infected and restore temporary order. But just as things seem under control, it gets worse. The infected quickly overpower the SWAT team, and even the fallen officers rise again, now turned into the undead themselves. As the outbreak spreads, the prison warden sees the situation and flees in a truck, abandoning everyone to their fate. The remaining prisoners, including BC and others, escape into the forest. But they soon spot the warden's truck, not far ahead. As they cautiously approach, they take down a few wandering zombies. But it's not enough. Their actions attract a larger horde, and soon, they're overwhelmed. Without weapons, their only option is to retreat to the camp. There, BT tries to barricade the entrance with a metal frame, but it won't hold for long. They brace themselves for the worst. Inside the prison, chaos reigns. The instructor and another prisoner, BB, take diverging actions as roles begin to shift. Just as BC prepares to force the instructor to reveal the truth, a terrifying guttural growl pierces the air. Everyone freezes. The instructor finally speaks. He reveals the truth. The prison had triggered a level 5 lockdown due to an experiment gone wrong. All inmates were test subjects. Enraged, BC ties up the instructor and assigns watch shifts. He decides they'll regain strength and then head for the weapon storage. The instructor, however, urges them to go to the basement first, claiming that's where the outbreak truly began. BC ignores him. The next day, 2 teammates who had escaped the zombie horde safely return. Realizing they can't wait any longer, the group prepares to move. The instructor informs them that several other camps exist nearby, but only he knows the correct route. During the conversation, TC suddenly coughs up black goo. P pulls down his collar and finds a zombie scratch on his neck. BC immediately calls for TC's execution, but another teammate intervenes. As tensions rise, TC, still clinging to his humanity, runs from the bus. He grabs a whistle and begins luring the zombies away to give the others a chance to escape. Seizing the opportunity, the group runs. But in the chaos, the instructor slips his restraints and disappears, heading straight to the basement. Elsewhere, a woman is seen trying to evacuate a little girl. This child, whose cells the virus originated from, is the only hope for a cure. But the instructor has no intention of allowing that cure to exist. The instructor knocked the woman unconscious and forcibly took the little girl with him. Meanwhile, outside, TC led a massive horde of zombies into an open field. Knowing his time was limited, he blew the whistle one final time, using all his remaining strength to draw the infected toward himself. Back on the run, BC and the others weren't much luckier. They collided head-on with a group of zombies. Those who lagged behind were quickly overtaken, turned into prey. BC and a few others scrambled onto a nearby truck, but the undead were close behind. A brutal fight broke out. Outnumbered, The group was on the brink of collapse. In a final act of courage, BB chose to stay behind and distract the Horde, giving the others a chance to escape. P didn't hesitate. She slammed her foot on the gas and sped off into the distance. But BC, too exhausted to keep up, hadn't made it onto the truck. He was ambushed by a zombie. Just as he was about to be torn apart, AT and the others arrived in the nick of time and pulled him to safety. Elsewhere on the compound, the instructor faced his own deadly battle. Surrounded by zombies, he wielded an axe with terrifying precision, each swing delivering clean, skull-splitting blows. Within minutes, the ground around him was littered with the fallen undead. Back at the main camp, BC and the remaining survivors, unfamiliar with the terrain, had no choice but to return and regroup. While studying a map, a sudden knock echoed at the door. To their surprise, it was the woman, the one the instructor had knocked unconscious. She had survived. She revealed she had once worked inside the prison. With time running out and tension running high, BC demanded answers. The woman didn't hesitate. She asked if they had seen a little girl. Realizing they were still suspicious of her, she led them to the surveillance room. There, every moment of the secret experiment had been recorded. She explained everything. For the past 2 years, the prison had been conducting covert experiments after researchers discovered a rare gene, one that mimicked a parasitic organism capable of manipulating the human brain and enhancing physical power far beyond human limits. To understand the gene, scientists began testing on live human subjects. Their goal, a vaccine. But instead of healing, the vaccine caused something horrifying. It stripped subjects of their sanity, turning them into mindless, violent zombies. Now, their only hope of reversing the virus was tied to the little girl, who had been taken by the instructor. After a moment of thought, BC made his decision. They had to retrieve the girl, no matter the risk. The woman chose to stay behind. Eventually, BC found P, but to his shock, she was with the instructor. The atmosphere instantly turned tense. BC sat down across from the instructor. Instead of confronting P, he calmly asked for the girl, but the instructor refused. Just then, the missing warden suddenly returned, armed with a gun. Everyone froze. The tension was unbearable. The warden, disheveled and ravenous, ignored them and began devouring food from the table. The instructor eyed the weapon, preparing to make a move, but the warden was faster. He grabbed the gun. As the standoff escalated, something horrifying happened. The virus inside the warden's body suddenly activated. He had been bitten during his escape. In that brief moment of chaos, the instructor lunged forward, seized the gun, and ended the warden's life. But instead of restoring peace, he turned the gun on BC. Reacting fast, BC tackled the instructor. A vicious struggle followed. Meanwhile, P, now in possession of the little girl, fled the scene with AT behind the wheel. She promised to return for BC once the girl was safe. Back in the compound, BC finally overpowered the instructor. With the gun in hand, he made an unexpected choice. He spared him, because the gunshots had already drawn a new wave of zombies. Alone, BC stood no chance. But with the instructor by his side, there was still hope. Together, they fought through the Horde, barely holding out, until P returned with the truck. But the car's fragile windows couldn't withstand the onslaught. In the chaos, AT was bitten, and the instructor was pulled from the vehicle, torn apart by the undead. In a final act of resolve, AT managed to start the engine, slamming on the gas and getting the others to safety. When they finally reached a quiet clearing, AT understood what had to be done. Without a word, he opened the door and walked into the forest alone, accepting his fate. Days later, BC, P, and the little girl reached the outskirts of the city. But what they found was devastating. Skyscrapers had crumbled. Streets were empty. Smoke rose into the sky. The virus had already spread far beyond the prison. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.